Hey, what's going on, everyone? Bass here. Happy Monday, where us as Packers fans didn't have to watch any games this weekend. We had to sit back, relax, and watch all the other NFC playoff games and AFC playoff games to figure out who would play the Packers this upcoming weekend on Saturday, and it is indeed the San Francisco 49ers. But before we go into full force San Fran mode, I wanted to go over the PFF grades for the regular season for the Green Bay Packers as a team in whole and the players as well. And this video will focus on the offense, basically going over and comparing their ranks compared to other players around the league and all that. And if you are new here and this is something that interests you and you want more Packers news, analysis, and updates, make sure to go click that subscribe button below, as well as hit the like on the video to support my channel. All right, so as I said, today we are just going to be doing offense, and then later in the week I'll do defense, and then probably special teams as well. But who comes up first on offense is Aaron Rodgers, of course, and he ended the year with a 90.0 overall grade and an 87.7 passing grade, which was the overall grade, the 90.0, which was the fourth highest grade for quarterbacks in the league. And Aaron Rodgers received more All-Pro votes than Tom Brady, as it should be. And Aaron Rodgers, in my eyes, will be the MVP of the season. Now moving on to the Green Bay Packers running backs, number 1 and number 2, obviously being A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. Neither of them are a true number 1 back at this point. It's kind of by committee in Green Bay here, so basically going to list both them here. But both are top 5 in overall PFF grades in the entire NFL, which is extremely impressive. A.J. Dillon with an 87.4 overall grade, which is good for second best in the NFL, a 90.2 run grade, which is the first best in the NFL, and A.J. Dillon totaled 803 yards and 5 touchdowns. As for Aaron Jones here, he had an 82.6 overall grade, which was 5th best, and an 83.6 run grade, which was 4th best, and he totaled 799 yards and 4 touchdowns. So to have two, 800-yard rushers, both in the top 5 for the PFF grades, is just amazing. Jones was also second in running back receiving grade with 72.5, and Dillon was 9th with 65.5. So both top 10 in receiving grade for running backs as well. These two guys just did so well this year, and I loved that tandem. The Thunder and Lightning, as we were saying all offseason, and they did exactly that. So moving on to the 4 wide receivers with decent snaps this year. First, obviously, being Davante Adams. There is no surprise here. He was the number 1 graded wide receiver in the NFL with a 92.7 overall, 92.7 receiving, and a 90.3 drop grade. He had 1,553 yards and 11 touchdowns. And obviously, Cooper Kupp did get more yards, but Davante Adams graded higher than him. And Kupp had 33 more targets and 22 more receptions, so obviously he had more yards. And at the end of the day, Davante Adams is still wide receiver 1. I don't think there's any arguing that. And the second highest graded receiver for the Packers was Randall Cobb. He had a 72.0 overall grade, which made him 46th overall for receivers in the NFL. He had 375 yards and 5 touchdowns, but has been hurt since week 12, so that definitely hurt his total numbers. And then as for the third receiver, we do have MVS here. And MVS came in third for Green Bay with a 66.1 overall grade, which got him 71st best in the NFL. An okay year for MVS, kind of expected more from him, but 430 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then fourth for us, which may be a surprise to some, but I think it's mainly because he started slow, and that's Allen Lazard. He had a 65.5 overall grade, which is 78th best in the NFL, 513 yards and 8 touchdowns. So a lot of touchdowns, it's not really the yards. And that's, like I said, mainly because earlier on in the year, he just really didn't do much. He didn't get much volume. But now, at this point, I feel like he is the number 2 for Aaron Rodgers, and he's been a beast as of late. And he's also the 7th best pass blocking grade for a wide receiver at 75.0. Really interested to see what Allen Lazard does going into the playoffs. As for the tight end, I'm just going to talk about Mercedes Lewis here because Tunyon kind of didn't play all year with a torn ACL. DeGuara hasn't gotten many snaps. Dominic Daphne hasn't gotten many. Tyler Davis hasn't. So we're solely going to talk about Mercedes Lewis here, and he was tied for the 7th highest graded tight end in the NFL with a 78.8 overall grade, and he was the 7th best run blocking tight end at 74.1 grade, and he was 10th for pass blocking for tight ends at 76.4. Only 214 yards receiving and 0 touchdowns, but that's because we know Mercedes Lewis isn't really used in the receiving game. The only time he's ever thrown to is if it's a boot action or he's wide open in the flat and Aaron Rodgers hits him. But he's mainly used for blocking, run blocking, pass blocking, and he's a beast at that, a big part to this offense. Now moving down to the trenches to the offensive line, and we'll start with left tackle. Now I am going to include Elton Jenkins here because he did play a decent bit of left tackle this year, and he's not even a true left tackle, so I wanted to include him in this. He was the 9th ranked left tackle in overall grade with an 82.3. Now keep in mind that is only 8 games, and he ended up with an 81.2 pass block and 76.7 run block. He gave up 12 pressures and 2 sacks, and the main thing I'm thinking about Elton Jenkins is hopefully he just recovers really well for them from that ACL. We saw what happened with David Bakhtiari, just kept getting extended. Hopefully Hopefully, Elton Jenkins recovers well. But as for the second left tackle here, we do have Josh Nijman, who ranked 33rd for left tackles in overall grade with a 63.8. I don't think that grade does him justice. I mean, he gave up 3 sacks and 20 pressures, and I thought Josh Nijman did really well given the circumstance. I mean, the dude was a left tackle 3, fringe roster player before this year. So to come in after David Bakhtiari is obviously down with the ACL, and then you have Elton Jenkins, who isn't a true left tackle on his own to play left tackle. He gets hurt a couple times. Josh comes in, fills in, does what he needs to do, and isn't terrible. And Josh did what he needed to do. He did his job. So I thought he did really well this year. As for the guards, first we have left guard John Runyon Jr. He ranked 22nd for left guards with a 65.0 overall grade. John Runyon did give up 2 sacks and 20 pressures, but he wasn't penalized all year, which is just super impressive. And he was a 13th best pass blocking left guard with a 71.1. And as for the other guard, Royce Newman, the rookie, 4th round out of Ole Miss, he was a 25th ranked right guard with a 56.1, so not a good grade at all this year. He gave up 6 sacks and 32 pressures. He was middle of the pack for rookie guards this year. It could be a lot worse. Other rookie guards such as Jalen Mayfield gave up 11 sacks and 57 pressures. And then first rounder Alex Leatherwood on the Raiders gave up 8 sacks and 65 pressures. And he was the second lowest rated guard in the entire NFL, not just rookies. So, and these all, and to keep in mind, all these ratings are, if the guard had at least 500 snaps at that position. So there's where these ratings come from. As for the Packers center position, we mainly had 2 guys start this year, that being second round draft choice Josh Myers out of Ohio State, and then also Lucas Patrick, who has been on the Packers for a decent bit, filling in at any position he needs to. They were both kind of ranked towards the bottom in overall grade. Lucas Patrick was a 23rd ranked center with 57.6 overall grade. Now, Lucas Patrick didn't give up a single sack and only 17 pressures. So, again, I think this grade doesn't do him justice, just like Josh Nijman. I mean, not to give up a single sack, being thrown into a position that's not your true position. I'm sorry, but that's impressive. So, such a versatile player Lucas Patrick is, and I see why the Packers will likely start him going to the playoffs, whether that be at center or right guard. And as for Josh Myers, he has a slightly higher grade at 58.3, but a lot less snaps. Josh Myers had 293 snaps to Lucas Patrick's 911 snaps. Josh Myers also didn't give up a single sack and only 8 pressures, and he is the future at center for the Packers. There's no denying that. All right, so that does it for the players on offense. Now I want to talk about the overall team grades for certain categories on offense via PFF here. And for the offensive grade overall, the Packers have an 83.3, which is 6th best in the NFL. For passing, they have an 80.3, which is 8th best. For pass blocking, they have a 73.8, which is 8th best. For receiving, they have an 81.3, which is 4th best. Running, they have a 91.4, which is 2nd best, right below the Bills. And for run blocking, they have a 62.3, which is 23rd. So it's crazy that the Packers have the 2nd best running grade with a 91.4, but the 23rd best run blocking grade. That tells me the run blocking isn't that great. It just tells me how good Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon are, and just how much they can create, even if the blocking's not good. It's just insane. But that does it for the offensive grades. Now, obviously, like I said, all eyes are on this upcoming game against the 49ers. It's definitely going to be a very good game. Obviously, we all get PTSD from a couple years ago playing the 49ers, but we'll see what happens. But I wanted to get this video out because, obviously, to get to this point, the Packers had to go through an 18-game season, which obviously meant a lot as well. And this is also the grades for that. So I wanted to kind of go over that. But leave your thoughts and comments down below. Which one was the biggest shock to you, and which one did you say, like, okay, I saw that coming, like Devontae being number 1 in terms of wide receivers? Just leave your thoughts down in the comments below. But on that note, I'll catch you on the next one, and as always, go Pack Go.